Greetings, Cody. We're down here at the streets department. We had a little snow event, our first snow of the year, I think, here in November. What we're going to do is we're featuring our streets department this month, and we're going to go around town a little bit with our good friend Cordell, who works at the streets, and take a look at what's going on. So come along. And we're going. All right. Well, they wouldn't let me drive the truck, which is probably a good thing. I do not have my CDL, unlike all 8 employees that work in our streets department. And those 8 employees cover how many miles of?
77.
77 miles of road within the city of Cody. They're on call 24/7. We have at least 2 on call every weekend throughout the year, especially in the wintertime when we have snow events. And right now, we're heading up the hill here, and Cordell's gonna kind of explain a little bit of the reason for trying to get these hills done here in Cody. We've got some stuff in here. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about this, Cordell?
So I've got a lever down here that basically distributes the sand on the hill. And the way we want to distribute the sand on the hill is intermittently, to where most of the vehicles can drag the sand up with their tires and drag the sand through the hill, so that way we're conserving sand throughout the year, not putting as much volume down, but letting the vehicles kind of sand the rest of it for us and letting them do the work.
And what's in that? Is it just sand, or is it sand composite?
It's got sand and about 3% salt mixed into that sand, and that's just to break the bond between the snow or the ice on the street. It doesn't melt it by any means. It's just enough salt to break the bond, so that way it'll start melting off and kind of getting it off the road for everybody.
Right. And so we're on Stampede here, and we have kind of a system in place where we have our priority sections, right? And those are generally, help me with that, like school?
Yep, so our priority 1 roads are our artery roads. So the first ones are going to be hills and all schools: Stampede, Sheridan Avenue, Bighorn Avenue, 8th Street, all the way out the West Strip, all the way down through East Sheridan Avenue and Cougar.
Right.
That's the main ones, and those are all just mainly for school buses.
Right. And so how long you been working in the streets department, Cordell?
So I'm coming up on my 4th year.
Nice. Right on. And so what's the biggest winter snow event you've had to kind of get out in?
Last year, Tyler Priest and I, we got called out. We were averaging quite a bit of overtime last year with all the snow that we had. So I'd have to say last year was probably my worst year. 2016, they were running 12-hour shifts for about a week and a half. That was a bad year. I wasn't around for that, but that was good.
Well, we'll see what kind of activity we get this year. Like you said, it's kind of we got a good cold snap right now, so we'll see if that's some kind of harbinger for the rest of the winter or not.
Right.
But, anyway, and then in the summertime we transition to doing chip sealing and a lot of those maintenance and street care of all our streets for the city of Cody.
They want us to get the schools done and before school opens. So we get called out for the most part. We get called out, about 5 in the morning. Gives us about 2 hours before school starts up and buses start going. And then you'll have oddities. Like we get off work at 3:30, but for the most part, if it's a bad storm, we're going to be back in at 4:30, 5 o'clock, because that's your rush hour. People are going up and down your hills, and they're going to be calling in because it got slippery. In the spring, we get called out a lot. It'll snow all during the night, and then it'll melt during the day, and then it's still cold, and then it freezes.
Yeah.
And then we're right back out there. So we need to be able to have the fire department get called out, the ambulance get called out. And the school buses, that's our top priority. If you can't get out your driveway, we're really sorry. We have to put the snow somewhere, and it's got to be off the road, so that way the emergency vehicles can get there.
And eventually it'll melt. Thank you, Streets Department.